Okay, so in the last video I set up the entryway out here on the map. In this one I'm going to set up a house interior. We've got this set here, that's the assignable areas. I'm going to change this from backyards to houses. I'll just do a little other renaming. We're just going to call that Coral Town. Because that name actually does show up on the map when you're in that area. Okay, so it's this main room that we're going to need to work with here. So put that down there. And we're going to match, just for my kind of sanity here, I'm going to match the position of that one with, oops, I want to do that the other way. So we match the position of the backyard so that it's over here. Now I'm going to take a look at this. Again, there's nothing special about that template, so I'm fine to use this one instead. But I will need to de-instance this one so I can work with it. And I'm going to need to abandon this one. And now I need to start setting up the parts of this. So it looks like we need an area setup, which is set to backyard. Which, yeah, that's just a reference actually, I think. That one in here. Okay, and set that to reference the main room of the house. Then we've got this private lot, which has actually all the parts in it. We have this placeholder, which again is just to make it easy to grab and make sure there's like a physics enabled thing, but I don't need that for now. So the next part is this private lot, which I'll just pull all of that up into here, the whole private lot, and then we'll get the stuff we don't need out of it. So delete backyard. Now we've got several upgrade loaders. Again, we're not going to start with upgrades for now. I'll put them back later if I want them. Just sort of adds a lot of extra complication. I think we will leave the Gatherable Debris Replicator in here because in this case it might be nice to have to like tidy the house when you move in. So in the Gatherable Debris Replicator, if that replicator, since that replicator is going to actually start with stuff in it, it needs to be attached to the database somehow. And it's this custom property here that's going to determine what loads into this replicator. So I'm going to call this, I guess I'll just call it house debris. Actually, maybe I'll call it main room debris, because if I add other rooms to the house, I don't want it to be confusing for the names. So this is going to be my gatherable group. So that, but I need this, I need to keep track of this because we're going to need this later when we're filling out the database. So we'll go gatherable group ID main room debris. And the name of this here doesn't matter, but it just, I'm just naming it this way to make it easier for myself in the future. So then the replicator loader needs to be referencing that. But here again we have a storage key and an identifier that need to be correct. So we're going to go, I think I'll just use the same thing, but maybe just with no spaces in it, like this example here. So that was for the gatherables, is what we were setting up there. But we also have the placeables in their replicator. So again, I'm going to need storage key. This time it's going to be main, what did I call it? Main room, is that right? So main room placeables. And this replicator, I think it actually references something inside. Let me just double check this. Yeah, for this one, it needs the placeable replicator, which is going to be, yeah, it's just this thing here. So that was, it should have already been right. Now these loaders, I could get the templated version out and use it, but I can also just use this de-instance one. It doesn't really matter. So that should be hooked up, right? We should now be able to have placeables in the house, and we should be able to have gatherables in the house. I think later on I'm going to specify shared storage keys for these so that I can have higher limits, but again, I'll worry about that later when the design's further along. So we don't really, this expansion was loading all the unlockable parts of the backyard. I'm not going to worry about that right now, so I'll just delete that. For now, we only need one spawn point, so I will deal with that. I believe we called it a front door. Let me just double check. So spawn point key is front door. So that should be fine. The lot loader, we shouldn't need to change anything. This lot type is important. So the private lot one at the top is a reference, but the second one here is where we're going to need the lot type that we set up in one of the previous videos. So that we called it house, decided that this was going to be called house interior, so now it is. Fine, so that leaves this object loader. So this would be where the art for, let's call it main room. And right now it's referencing a backyard, which we don't want that, so I'll just clear that for now. So what we need to do is make that main room. And what we're going to make that out of is the house geometry that's there. So let's just set to 1 for some reason. I'll just make that there. I want the new house to be in the exact same position as this object loader so that when the object loader loads it up, it's in the right spot. So I'm going to make a new group here, which I'll use this as the root of the template, and I will call this area house interior house main room. Sometimes my names get kind of long, but that's partly because I want to make sure that if I search for it in my project content that I can find it. So then I try to think of different things that I might want to call it. Just so that I don't lose it. So we're going to go with that. And this way too, if it's like, I know it's an area then, and I know it's a house interior, and I know it's the main room, and then if I add more house interiors, they'll have different room names. So I think that'll work okay. So now we need the art. Now this is going to be a static, like this, you can actually put that in the name right now. We're going to make this a template that we put in the static slot. So it'll, that's the context it'll be spawning into. And I believe that all the art that I have in here right now is, yeah, it's all stuff that I'm going to want collision on. You'll notice it's kind of a funny design, but I really wanted to play around with the fact that an underwater house wouldn't make sense to lay it out the way that a house is, because a creature in the water can freely swim up and down. They can make use of surfaces and spaces in their home that would be very difficult for us on land to make use of. So that's why the house is kind of a funny shape. But yeah, we want collision on all of this. Like, we don't want the player to swim through any of that. So I think that's fine. We're just going to make a new group, and we'll just call it like geo with collision, so I remember that everything in here is supposed to be collidable. And then we can just delete this old dead folder. So we're going to create a template from this, but there's something, there's a few things that we might need here. So first of all, let's go get that spawn point actually that we made. Where is it hiding? That's where it is if it's zeroed. I'm just going to actually move this up from the outer container. I think that's fine. So when you come in the house, you're going to spawn like sort of here somewhere. It's a little bit hard to get a good view on this, but somewhere in the front of the front door. Remember to turn it to local to see where the arrow's facing. Generally, when you come through a door, you want to be facing away from the door. So we'll turn it around so that it's like that. Make sure that the target is correct. Oh, I don't need to be seeing advanced objects. Okay, so our spawn point's right, but the other thing we need to do is be able to leave this house. So that means we need to go and get a portal. So I guess I'll just grab one from something again. Project content, not core content. So I'm just going to take the portal out of here. Actually, this is something else in it we can maybe use, so I'm just going to leave that there for half a second. So I'll just paste this into here. So there's the portal that we're going to adjust. Then the other thing that we're going to want is actually a placeable area, and this one has one of those as well. So since we're here anyway, we'll grab that so that we can fix them both. Both of these we're going to want to be, we're just going to put them inside of this house interior. So the first one we'll zero out and adjust can be this portal. And then we need to change like all the settings and naming on it. So this one is going to lead back to the spawn point key is just going to be house, called the house type or the lot type house entrance, it looks like. So spawn point keys can be, oops, don't accidentally wreck that. I'll just say house entrance here. So that was already the key, but now the lot type is not front yard. The lot type now is going to be house entrance. Shouldn't need to change anything else on that, I don't think. So the next thing that we've got is this placeable area that we need to do something with. So in this case, the geo inside of here is what can be placed, remember from the script. So the first thing we're going to want to do is think of what this area type is. So this placeable area, I guess we'll call it sand, because it's sort of the sand inside of your house for now. You know what, I'm just going to leave it as floor because I don't know if it will be sand later. So we'll just leave it as floor, placeable area, but we'll write down that name. So we'll go area type floor, but we obviously don't want it to be this cube. So we need the parts of this kit bash that are going to be the placeable areas. So that's that and that. And this one's a little bit awkward because I don't actually want this whole thing to be a placeable area. What I might actually need to do here is make some invisible placeable areas that we can put in this, but again, just for now, I think I'll just to make it easy while I'm initially setting it up. So I got those two, and I guess I'll take, oh no, it's only a partial sphere actually, that's better. Yeah, so I'll take that too. So what I actually intend to do with this eventually is make the walls placeable as well, but it's too fancy for when you're just getting started. You really want a game up and running as quickly as you can manage it. game dev's never fast, but trying to do everything exactly the way you want in your final game can keep you from testing for a long time, and testing is pretty important. So that's all fine, I think. So let's create a new. Just double check that floor one and make sure, yeah, it's got its area type and this has its reference. Okay, so we're gonna create a new template from this, and then we're actually gonna delete this out of the lot because we don't need it there. Oh, actually, I'll leave it for just one more minute, but we'll put it in the loader right away so we remember. So this is gonna go into the static slot. Okay, so the only reason I left it there just for a little longer is we have this, remember we were using this thing here as just like a handle to know where things are. And so I'm still going to do that here. So we'll zero this out so we're starting fresh, and it's hard to see when it's small like that. All I'm going to do is make it roughly the size of the house, so that I remember that there's houses out there, because I'm about to make 32 of these. When you're doing a game using this framework where you have like lots for a player, how many lots you need depends on your player count. You need to have one for every possible player. So now that that's sized and adjusted, I'll just change the color. Then now I can delete this geometry if I wanted. But I think we're going to do one more thing with that geometry there. Let's update template from this. That should make all of that now part of the template. Yeah. So what I need now is more of these, many more of these. So we'll just quickly, and you're probably going to want to space them out a little. Because you don't really want, say if someone makes sounds in one, for those sounds to be heard in the other one. That would be kind of weird for your players. So I might actually move these apart further than I have them now, but just to make stuff easier. These don't need to be on this map. They could be anywhere. They could be underneath or whatever, but yeah, I would advise in your final game, make sure that you're spacing them out more than I'm doing here. So that should be 32 houses. Okay, so that's all that I left that geometry in there for. Now I can take it out because it's referenced here. It'll come back when we play. So update template from this. So there you go. You can just see all the placeholders and all the spawn points, and I'll leave that there for this video. Before I go on to the next task.